3 days before my divorce from the newly crowned actress Jessica, a video surfaced from what seemed to be my alternate account, revealing explicit details of her traumatic childhood experience. On the day of the divorce, I vanished without a trace. Jessica was furious, publicly calling me a coward in front of the media. She conspired with the industry to blacklist me, destroyed our home, and was seen entering and leaving a hotel with her childhood friend who had just returned from abroad. Little did she know, I was already gone. To protect her secret, I had met my end at the hands of the perpetrator.
Ugh! Shameless! We were supposed to divorce today, and now you're playing hide and seek with me? Wendy, I don't care what it takes or how much it costs, you must find Nathan. This divorce has to happen.
My spirit hovered at the entrance of the Civil Affairs office, watching Jessica sitting in the nanny van. After her 41st unanswered call to me, she angrily smashed her phone. Wendy, her assistant, was terrified and frantically started making calls to locate me. Beside her, Zachary pulled her into his arms, gently brushing her earlobe, his voice tender.
Don't be upset. Nathan probably doesn't want the divorce and ran off. Trust me, we'll find him.
Doesn't want the divorce? If he didn't want the divorce, he shouldn't have secretly used my money and lied to me. If he didn't want the divorce, he shouldn't have pretended to be nice while secretly leaking that video to ruin me.
Jessica ranted, and after venting, Zachary comforted her in his arms. I drifted closer and saw the shattered screen of her phone still displayed our wedding photo from 5 years ago. She was holding a bouquet of vibrant roses. Yet, despite the blooming season, we had reached the point of divorce. I smiled bitterly. Ever since our mutual childhood friend Zachary returned from abroad, I sensed Jessica's heart was no longer with me. First, it was several consecutive nights of coming home late. Then, she started to express disdain for my scarred face. She said it scared her at night and insisted I wear a tightly wrapped plastic mask to bed. The burned skin needed ventilation, and wearing the mask caused inflammation and redness. Finding it troublesome, she decided we should sleep in separate rooms. After stepping down from directing to work behind the scenes, I excitedly presented my first script to her. She was in a hurry to go out with Zachary and flipped through it carelessly.
Nathan, honestly, you're not cut out for the film industry. I think you should just find a regular job.
Then, when Jessica discovered I had transferred $3 million from her account, she completely lost it. Even though I explained it was a mistake and had already returned the money, she didn't believe me and demanded a divorce. That was the final straw. I knew that when someone no longer loves you, even breathing becomes a mistake.
Jessica, it's bad. The paparazzi are here.
Wendy suddenly burst into the car, interrupting the intimate moment. Immediately, a swarm of paparazzi surrounded the vehicle, cameras flashing.
Jessica, rumors say your marriage with Nathan is ending because you've fallen for someone else. Is your relationship with the new film company president Zachary true? Is it true that Nathan leaked the scandalous video? You two were childhood sweethearts and once the model couple in the industry. Why have you become so hostile towards each other? Nathan is missing from the divorce proceedings, and no one can contact him. Does this mean there's more to the video scandal? Is Nathan's safety at risk?
The barrage of questions and flashing lights overwhelmed the car. Jessica's face turned pale. My spirit trembled, clenching its fists in anxiety. Jessica, in our 7 years together, I was never out of touch. You must sense something is wrong, right? Nina didn't have time to stop her as Jessica yanked open the car door. Facing countless cameras, she resolutely spoke.
Nathan, if you see this video, hurry up and come back to finalize our divorce. I really regret marrying a coward like you. Everyone, Nathan and I have long fallen out of love. As for my relationship with Zachary, I have no comment.
She turned her gaze to the deep-voiced reporter.
The scandalous video was all Nathan's revenge. The videos are fabricated, and only someone like him would stoop so low. And you. Men don't need to cover for each other. Nathan is just irresponsible and cowardly. How did it turn into a conspiracy theory in your mouth? I advise you, don't take the wrong side just for a few bucks.
My clenched fingers suddenly relaxed. Yes, because she doesn't care, she's not worried. What was I expecting? The paparazzi wanted to ask more, but Jeremy, who had gone to the restroom, returned. He puffed on a cigarette, pulled a baseball bat from the trunk, and drove away all the paparazzi, escorting Jessica back into the car and speeding away. In the car, Zachary was deeply moved and confessed his feelings.
Jessica, you didn't have to offend fans and the media for me.
Don't say that. We've been friends since childhood. If you hadn't brought up the past when you returned, I wouldn't have realized Nathan's true nature so quickly.
Wendy saw Jessica's expression gradually calm down and mustered the courage to speak.
Jessica, the company mentioned Nathan's new script contract and casting. Will you attend the meeting on his behalf?
A spark of hope suddenly ignited in my dim heart. Signing? Casting? Jessica knew that it was a script I had painstakingly worked on for a whole year. But unexpectedly, Jessica just gave a cold smile.
What does it have to do with me? If he's capable, he can sign the contract himself.
She looked at Zachary.
Zachary, you know I don't want to see anything related to Nathan in the industry. Since he likes to disappear, let's just blacklist him.
Even though I'm just a soul, I felt a chill throughout my being, and the smile that had just formed on my lips froze. Those two casual words, blacklist him, destroyed everything I had worked for while I was alive.
All right, I'll do as you say.
Jessica took out her compact and touched up her makeup, humming a little tune. She then changed into a luxurious and beautiful dress in the back seat. The car stopped at the entrance of an upscale club. She took Zachary's arm and happily went to attend a business cocktail party. I floated beside her, watching her and Zachary toast and chat with the crowd, a contented smile always on her lips. It was as if my disappearance meant nothing to her, not causing the slightest ripple in her life. They exchanged sweet glances from time to time, and Jessica's gaze at Zachary stung my eyes. It was just like in our childhood love triangle, the way Jessica looked at Zachary. That was a look of admiration and affection that had never been directed at me. During a break in the party, she sent a voice message to Jeremy.
Brother, you should also look for Nathan. I still want to finalize this divorce as soon as possible. If you find him, I'll make sure you're well compensated.
I'll definitely look for him. It's my duty. No need to talk about money between us.
Souls don't have feelings, but I still felt a hollow space in my heart. Jessica, what should I say to you? Your stepbrother Jeremy, that gambling addict who leeches off you, how could he possibly find me? 3 days ago, in the afternoon, it was him who shattered my skull with a hammer, blow by blow. Wendy burst into the car, interrupting the intimate moment between Jessica and Nathan.
Jessica, it's bad. The paparazzi are here.
Immediately, a swarm of paparazzi surrounded the vehicle, cameras flashing and questions flying.
Jessica, rumors say your marriage with Nathan is ending because you've fallen for someone else. Is your relationship with the new film company president Zachary true?
Is it true that Nathan leaked the scandalous video? You two were childhood sweethearts, and once the model couple in industry. Why have you become so hostile towards each other?
Nathan is missing from the divorce proceedings, and no one can contact him. Does this mean there's more to the video scandal? Is Nathan's safety at risk?
The barrage of questions and flashing lights overwhelmed the car. Jessica's face turned pale.
Jessica, in our 7 years together, I was never out of touch. You must sense something is wrong, right?
Jeremy placed the transaction record on the table, his eyes full of probing intent.
Jeremy, tone, serious look. Nathan made a purchase at a small supermarket in the south of the city today.
That day, after Jeremy ended my life, he took my phone. He chose a place without surveillance and fabricated my transaction record.
Jeremy, tone, serious Jessica, Zachary must have told you by now. Back then, Nathan had a crush on you. He paid me to assault you so he could play the hero and win your heart.
I floated among them, watching Jeremy weave the most absurd lies, powerless to do anything.
Jeremy, tone, serious. I know my dad and your mom's marriage only lasted a year, but you called me brother, and I'll always be your brother. I shouldn't have done that to you for a bit of money back then. I'm married with kids now and have turned over a new leaf. I don't want to see you get hurt anymore.
Narrator, tone, hopeful. He probably wanted Jessica to believe that I had quietly left to avoid the divorce. That way, his crimes wouldn't be discovered. But I don't believe it. After 7 years with Jessica, doesn't she know what kind of person I am and how deep my feelings for her run? Or did she choose not to believe me in the face of her youthful infatuation with Zachary? Narrator, tone, sad. I felt so empty, so tired. I wanted to escape this torment, but it seemed neither heaven nor hell would take me, leaving me to endure the slander and betrayal from the person I once loved most.
Jessica, tone, sad. I know.
Jessica's eyes were hazy with tears as she took off her wedding ring and threw it into her glass. Then, as if venting her frustration, she grabbed a beer bottle and began smashing everything in the room. The framed marriage certificate, the wedding photos, our wall of memories. This little home we decorated together, and everything about us, she destroyed completely. After a wild outburst, Jessica collapsed onto the bed. Zachary, who had been waiting outside, walked in and handed Jeremy a stack of cash.
Zachary, tone, angry. If it weren't for your impulsiveness, we wouldn't be in such a mess, almost getting Jessica to call the police.
He put on gloves and took all the meat out of the freezer.
Zachary, tone, serious. Luckily, Nathan's phone is in your hands, so you could send messages to fake his whereabouts. Hurry up and dispose of these remains before the police come knocking and we end up with a murder charge.
Jeremy lit a cigarette nonchalantly and kicked the bed where Jessica lay.
Jeremy, tone, unfriendly. Blame me? Hey, you should thank me, okay? I took care of Nathan for you. The big star is about to be in your bed, isn't she? I've never tasted a big star before.
Nathan, tone, shouting no.
Seeing Jessica lying there helplessly, I instinctively rushed to shield her.
Zachary, tone, serious. Once this blows over, I'll give you 50 million. That should be enough for you to live comfortably for the rest of your life, right? If Nathan hadn't exposed this to my parents, my dad wouldn't have sent me abroad, and Jessica would have been mine long ago.
He stuffed my remains into a bag and stomped on it, his face twisted with rage.
Zachary, tone, angry. Nathan, always talking about movies and art with Jessica. But you can't beat having a good father, can you? Let's see what you have to compete with me now.
I desperately tried to touch Jessica, but my hands passed through her body again and again, watching those two beasts repeatedly carry out my dismembered body. By the time they finished, dawn was breaking. Jeremy took the money and headed to an underground casino, while Zachary carried Jessica to the car and drove to a hotel. I followed in a panic, not knowing what terrible things he might do to Jessica. As Zachary showered in the hotel bathroom, a persistent phone ringing woke Jessica from her stupor.
Nathan, tone, said I didn't understand why Jessica was crying.
She sat dazed on the carpet by the bed, tears streaming down her face. Zachary came out wrapped in a towel.
Zachary, tone, concerned. Jessica, what's wrong?
Her eyes were red, her lashes trembling, as she opened her pale lips.
Jessica, tone, sad. Nathan is gone. He's gone. The police said he was taken. How could he leave me again?
Jessica, it's bad! The paparazzi are here! Wendy suddenly burst into the car, interrupting the intimate moment. Immediately, a swarm of paparazzi surrounded the vehicle, cameras flashing.
Jessica, rumors say your marriage with Nathan is ending because you've fallen for someone else. Is your relationship with the new film company president Zachary true?
Is it true that Nathan leaked the scandalous video? You two were childhood sweethearts and once the model couple in the industry. Why have you become so hostile towards each other?
A deep male voice stood out among the chaos.
Nathan is missing from the divorce proceedings, and no one can contact him. Does this mean there's more to the video scandal? Is Nathan's safety at risk?
The barrage of questions and flashing lights overwhelmed the car. Jessica's face turned pale. My spirit trembled, clenching its fists in anxiety. Jessica, in our 7 years together, I was never out of touch. You must sense something is wrong, right? My passing was ruled a homicide by the police, and an investigation was launched. In the past few days, Jessica has been acting strangely. Narrator, tone, said she stayed home, canceled all her engagements and work, and began to restore everything she had once destroyed, cleaning our home meticulously. The ring she had once soaked in a glass of wine was back on her finger. When the police came to investigate, she refused to leave the house, sitting on a stool outside the elevator, waiting for the police to examine the scene. The investigation progressed quickly. The police found traces of blood in the living room, bathroom, and refrigerator crevices. Following my phone's location, the police apprehended Jeremy, who was attempting to flee, along with Zachary, who was involved in the case. Narrator, tone, relieved upon hearing this news, Jessica suddenly seemed normal again. She dressed up, ignored the media and paparazzi downstairs, and went to see Jeremy.
Why did you harm him? If you needed money, I could have given it to you. Why did you use such cruel methods?
Jeremy snorted and didn't intend to answer her. But Jessica persisted, her eyes behind her sunglasses filled with rage.
If you have a problem, come at me. What did Nathan ever do to you?
Jeremy looked at Jessica's chest with a lecherous gaze, licking his lips, and answered irrelevantly.
If I had known you'd become a big star, I would have taken you by force back then.
Jessica pulled out a photo of Jeremy's wife, child, and elderly father. Then, she stabbed a knife straight into the photo.
I'll give you one last chance, Jeremy. Why did you harm Nathan?
Facing Jeremy's bloodthirsty eyes, I recalled that day.
After learning that Jessica had given Jeremy money, I transferred him $3 million as hush money. His greed grew, and that day he came to me directly asking for $10 million, even refusing to delete the video he had promised to erase. He played the video, turning up the volume, letting his vile voice and Jessica's terrified face fill my senses.
What do you think? If this video gets out, do you think Jessica can still survive in the entertainment industry? A worthless piece of trash like you, sleeping with a big star. I wonder if people will think you're a fool for treasuring what I discarded.
I knew he was trying to provoke me. I secretly pressed the record button on my phone. Forget it. The $3 million I gave you before was more than enough. If you threaten me again, I'll report you for extortion.
Report me? Do you have any evidence?
I showed him the recording and the written confession he had signed years ago, smiling. What do you think? Don't think I don't know. You've always denied what you did in front of Jessica, and she doesn't remember much because of the trauma. That's why you can shamelessly be her driver. But if I hand this evidence to the police, do you think you can still walk free?
Damn it!
Jeremy looked at the confession and punched me in the face.
You tricked me!
I did. From now on, stay away from Jessica.
I had enraged Jeremy, the gambler. He pulled a hammer from his waistband and struck my head repeatedly. He was blinded by rage, and only after my head was completely shattered did he realize what he had done. He called Zachary, who was on a date with Jessica. Dismemberment, burying the torso in a bag, freezing the limbs in the refrigerator for later disposal, all were Zachary's ideas. Everyone knew Jessica never entered the kitchen or touched the refrigerator. She wouldn't discover that the person she had been searching for was lying in the refrigerator next to the bedroom.
Are you and Zachary getting along well, planning to divorce Nathan? Why are you pretending now?
Jeremy looked at Jessica with disdain.
Just like your mother, a worthless woman. If it weren't for keeping your secret, Nathan wouldn't have provoked me, and he wouldn't have died.
Hearing this, Jessica's steps halted. She turned around, speaking each word clearly.
Jeremy, I will hire the best lawyer to ensure you receive the maximum penalty. 10 of you aren't worth a single finger of Nathan.
Wendy burst into the car, her face pale with worry.
Jessica, it's bad. The paparazzi are here.
Cameras flashed as a swarm of paparazzi surrounded the vehicle.
Jessica, rumors say your marriage with Nathan is ending because you've fallen for someone else. Is your relationship with the new film company president, Zachary, true?
Is it true that Nathan leaked the scandalous video? You two were childhood sweethearts, and once the model couple in the industry. Why have you become so hostile towards each other?
Nathan is missing from the divorce proceedings, and no one can contact him. Does this mean there's more to the video scandal? Is Nathan's safety at risk?
The barrage of questions and flashing lights overwhelmed the car. Jessica's face turned pale. My spirit trembled, clenching its fists in anxiety. Jessica, in our 7 years together, I was never out of touch. You must sense something is wrong, right? After finishing her script, Jessica held a press conference to announce her retirement from the industry.
I've decided to step away from the spotlight. I'm donating all my money to the Film Association to help those with dreams of making movies.
She took Nathan's ashes and returned to the southern city where they grew up together. She buried his ashes in an expensive cemetery but lived in a shabby old apartment herself, still wearing the ring he gave her when he proposed.
Every day, I stayed by her side, spending long, tedious days with her. My soul grew lighter, gradually becoming transparent. It might be time for me to leave.
On the 10th anniversary of their wedding, Jessica came to see Nathan again.
Nathan, I wonder how you've been all these years.
She took a bottle of high-proof liquor, drinking, and softly calling his name.
Life without you has been really hard. I might be getting old. I dream of you often lately, and sometimes even see you by my side. You were so talented, directing, writing scripts, you were amazing. In my heart, you deserved all the fame and praise in the world. Why did I only chase after fame and forget to look back at you? Wasn't I foolish? I didn't believe you, and instead believed those two scoundrels' lies.
She wiped away her tears, still smiling.
When I join you down there, will you blame me?
Jessica spoke many words to Nathan's tombstone, but he could barely hear them. He only felt his consciousness gradually fading.
In my increasingly blurred vision, Jessica curled up in front of the tombstone, closing her eyes deeply. Just like when she wasn't a movie star yet, and we lived in a cheap rental, she would curl up in my arms to watch movies. Those were the days when we were still in love.
Just before Nathan's consciousness faded completely, he saw Jessica, now also a spirit. She ran over and hugged him, speaking fervently.
Nathan, I finally see you again. Do you know, every day I've lived in the pain of missing you and guilt. I couldn't hold on any longer, I missed you so much.
But Nathan's soul was dissipating bit by bit in her embrace. She held him tightly in panic, speaking incoherently in her fear.
Please, don't go. You've left me so many times already. Don't leave me this time, okay?
I try to give her a smile. Jessica, I hope in the next life, I never meet you again.